If you are watching this video at the moment, I believe you are familiar with the word why. And also, you have asked yourself this particular word why. Why is trading so hard? Why is it easier for other people to achieve profitability in trading, even with knowing less, having less knowledge? I'm just going to be raw and factual here. So this is not a rehearsed video. So you're just going to take it as you see it. So the question is why, why? Why do I hit stop loss immediately I enter a trade? Why can't I seem to get it right? Why this, why that? And that drags on and on. And for so many people, they have found a way to categorize or to just point at one simple solution, psychology. So now 80% of the traders, if you ask them, why are you failing? Their simplest run to answer becomes psychology. Oh, it's psychology. Oh, it's psychology this, psychology that, psychology this, psychology that, overtrading, FOMO, and all of that, right? But the reality is there are four elements of trading, and psychology is just one of them. So if you now ask, since you know psychology is the issue, it's simple. If you know the problem, you should be able to solve it. Since you know psychology is the issue, why are you still not profitable? Then they don't have any answer. See, it's very easy to blame psychology because you don't have any other solution or you don't have any other way of identifying what the problem is. And that is why I am making this video today in order to correct some notion and help you understand the steps you need to take to become profitable in trading, right? And if you can stick to the end of this video, this will just be like 15-20 minutes max. If you can have the patience to watch to the end of this video, I promise you, you are going to see a change. You're going to have a turnaround in your trading career without having to even spend money doing any other thing, right? So let's bring out the four elements of trading, which is very, very crucial to the issues you might be coming across as a trader. So we have the four elements of trading. We have the fundamental, we have the technical, we have the psychological, and we have the risk management or capital management aspect of trading. And each of these branches or elements in trading can categorically stand the reason why you might be losing, right? But before we dive into that, we're just going to unpack or open up what each of these does, their descriptive nature, and what they do actually to traders or what they stand for. So let's start with fundamental, right? Fundamental, on the branch of fundamental, you might have heard of NFP, right? You might have heard of NFP, you might have heard of CPI, you might have heard of FOMC, and so on and so forth. These are micro events that pushes the direction of the market. But fundamental is so big that it's not just niched into Forex factory or news factory, as most traders usually use. Fundamental is most likely, in a simple term, it is the economic reforms of these countries or economic decision made by political leaders that form or drive these markets. Sometimes they can be political leaders, sometimes they can be citizens just as you and I. Our decisions, our financial decisions also drives what the economy of a pair. So it's not just about CPI, NFP, and so on and so forth. Those are also fundamentals, right? But then it's not just that. So you should understand that there's a whole lot when it comes to fundamental. Then when it comes to technical, majority of people have niche technical into just understanding structure, points of interest, liquidity, and so on and so forth. Right? But there's a whole lot of technical. We can start from the basic of higher highs and higher lows, but then technical goes further from there. And we also have things like ranges, we have things like major structures, substructures, minor structures, we have areas of interest, we have liquidities, we have POIs, and we have a whole lot on technical, right? We have entries, we have a whole lot of things inside the technicals as well, right? So that's where the technical aspect comes. And for me, a simple explanation of technical is just a chart, a candlestick representation of what economic reforms are all about. Okay, so when they have this economic reform, some of us might not be able to understand it, right? So it has to be represented in a way that seems simple. Seems keyword here is seems. It has to be represented in a way that makes it look simple enough, even for a dummy to understand what is going on. So that is where technical comes in play. That is where price action comes in play. So if you understand that technical is just a representation of fundamentals, that gets you going. And then the next is the big P, which is psychology. And this is something that most people have thoughts on and on about as if it is the only thing that is keeping them from being profitable. But me, in my explanation, I will tell you that fundamental psychology, rather, it is the reaction of a known or unknown action of the market. So I'm going to give you examples, right, which you are going to be very much familiar with. Let's say you take a trade and you are sad. What happened? Why are you sad? Probably because you lost a trade. That is the what? The reaction. So your sadness is the reaction of a known action, which is what you losing that trade, right? So let's say you take a trade and you are happy. The obvious reason why you are happy is that the trade is moving in your direction or it has hit your take profit. So you see, being happy is a what? Is a direct reaction of you making money from the market. Let's say you take a trade and you're skeptical. You are scared, right? What happens? It might be probably because you are over leveraging, right? And you see that you being skeptical or scared or anxious is because what? You are over leveraging in the market. And that is a what? A direct reaction to the action that you have seen. Now, when we talk about unknown actions, so it might be as simple as you might be on a losing streak for a week. For yourself, you might be telling yourself that, oh, that I'm good is just maybe 3 or 4 losses. But these 3 or 4 losses will psychologically make you make decisions, take decisions that are unaware to you until it is done. So that is the known and the unknown actions that would always cause a reaction. So if you understand this simple analogy of psychology, it becomes easier for you to comprehend what psychology is really all about and how you can easily beat it. And then we have the big risk management. Now, if you understand fundamental, understand technical, understand psychology, and you don't understand risk management, it becomes as simple as you pushing a car with no battery or trying to drive a car with no engine, right? Risk management is all about understanding how to manage your capital, whether you are in profit or you are in loss, and not just manage your capital, but how to equally scale your capital, right, in order to attain profitability. So risk management plays a very huge role when it comes to trading. Now, this is what I call the 4 elements of trading. So whenever it is you are having issue, you need to identify which of these 4 elements is in charge of my problem, right? So let me list out just a few of the minor issues you might be facing as a trader, and then we can see if it falls into any of this category. So let's say, for example, you take trade at a specific time period. Let's say you take trade New York session. And whenever you take trade New York session, the market takes you out with a very strong move, right? With the opposite direction. Then that means probably you are trading on the news, right? And this becomes your what? That is your issue is what? Fundamental. So your problem becomes fundamental. So let's say, for example, you're having issues with entries, right? You're having issues with your entry criteria. You're having issues with stop loss, take profits, or let's leave stop loss and take profit out of it. Let's say you're having issues with understanding price action. You don't know when to buy, you don't know when to sell, or you understand price action, but you're having issues with the concept of liquidity, how to know which highs and which lows to avoid. You see, or let's say you're having problems with entries and exits, right? That means your issue might be coming from what? Technical. So that means you need to find a way to fix your technicality or your technical knowledge in trading. So let's say you're having issues with emotion, right? And which is an aftermath of your fundamentals and your technicals. You are too excited, you are too depressed, you are too anxious, you are always overwhelmed when it comes to trading. Then your problem might just be just psychological. Okay. But then inside psychological, it might still stem from either one of these two and then covered up with what? Psychology, right? And then when you have problem with your risk, so you have problem with your stop loss, your take profit, how to manage your trade, you find yourself in situations whereby you mark a setup, you are correct, the setup goes in your direction, but you end up making little to no money from it, right? Or sometimes you enter a trade, the trade as is moving in profit, you get scared, you close off, and then the trade continues to hit your full target, and maybe your full target is 1:5, but you see that you are closing in 1:1, right? Or you analyze your setup and then you get scared of executing. These can be problems that stem from what? Risk management. Right. So it is quite unfair to blame everything on psychology when you have 3 other elements of trading that also play a huge role in the concept of you being profitable. So now that you understand this, I'm going to tell you how this helped me, right, in becoming a profitable trader. And I believe there's no need for me to be sending screenshots or trying to prove a whole lot because before you can gain access to this video that you're watching right now, you must have come across my page. So you are quite aware of my entries, my exits, my live trading, my screenshots, and a whole lot of other concepts that kind of proves that, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. So now let me give you a little backstory about myself, right? My name is Chidera Folio, and you can also call me Avatar if that's fine by you. I have been in your shoes. a whole lot. I have been in your shoes. I started trading about 4 to 5 years ago, and for 3 years plus, I was unprofitable, right? I've been in that hellhole where I keep on jumping from one thing to another, hoping to find the holy grail. And the problem was, which I believe most of you might have seen before, you would find something that works, right? You see something off YouTube or pay a mentor, right? They tutor you and you try out their strategy 1 week, 2 weeks, if you try out, you seem to be getting it right, and then all of a sudden everything goes back to dust, and you get lost, you get confused, and sometimes these mentors might not be able to help you because obviously they are just there to teach you one aspect of trading, and then you move on to the next and start looking for what works, and you continue so on and so on and so forth, whether by mentorship, whether by watching YouTube videos, whether by reading trading books, trading related books, or watching movies related to trading, right? I was also in your shoe going through all of these things. At some point, I even got depressed to the point that I felt like maybe I should quit trading and look for something else that I can do with myself, right? But the truth is, once you get in, you're already in, right? And there is a popular saying that a winner is somebody who allowed himself to fail one more time. So late 20 to early 2025, that is when I started getting my footings. That is when I had to take a step back and realize that I have been chasing only one aspect of trading, which is what the technical aspect of it. So SMC, ICT, MSNR, SLP, and the likes of it. So whatever fancy name they call it, I've been chasing only the technical aspect. And I realized that all I needed to do was to build a system comprising of the four elements and find a way to what make it work together in harmony to produce an edge for me. And that was what I started practicing from the early January of 2025 down to March. And from there, I picked off, and my trading picked off for good. I had to put all these four elements together and found a balanced way of using all of them to what have a tradable edge. In that December 2025, I was honored to be on the leaderboard of Secrets Prop Firm, their African leaderboard payout for 3 consecutive months. I was back to back on their payout. And still that same 2025, I was able to tutor at least 70 students, and majority of them are doing fine, right? At the moment. So, like I said, I don't need to push out too much proof and start sending screenshots. I believe that you are just coming from my page, maybe my Instagram page or my Twitter page or my YouTube channel, and you've seen this video, so you already know what I'm capable of. So, what I'm trying to make you understand is this: trading can be simple, right? But the problem in it, in the simplicity of it, is that it is not just one shoe fits all kind of thing. It's a round edge where you have to actually go all the way around to understand what trading is and how to what tackle it. Now, from this thing, from these elements here, you can coin out your own specific strategy on how to what navigate the market. But if you don't have the time to do that, I've put together a course that would help you understand the four elements of trading from A to Z and how to put it all together to form a perfect tradable strategy. I'm not promising you the holy grail, please. I'm just here to show you what works, right? And if you go through my page, you understand that I know what works and I've been able to what do it repeatably over and over again. So it is not a fluke. So if you're still watching this video, you can take your time to go through the rest of this website and check each of the category, which one you're going to be fitted in. And anyone that works for you, we are going to have you, or we are going to welcome you with open arms. And this is not a one-time thing where you just learn what works and then you get to stand and go fend for yourself. No, we have an inner circle community where every one of us participates in trading, live market reviews, market insight, live trading, and all sorts. Getting together as a family, because the goal at the end of the day is to become profitable. And I promise you, and not to go against what the industry is known for, but I can tell you the truth that only one person cannot do it alone. You understand? So we have a family for that. So if you're interested and you want to be part and participant of the Portfolio University and understand the market, the structural anatomy of the market, how it functions, why everything moves as it moves, and how to what make sense of all of these things, and how to scale your account, not just trade, scale your account, grow your prop firm, pass and grow your prop firms, and also receive steady payouts, right? While fixing your psychology, fixing discipline, and fixing a whole lot of aspect of your life that you may not know is related to what the reason why you are still losing as a trader. So if this is something you want,